Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025. We are here this morning for our Administrative Matters meeting, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'm Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. With me are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally and Commissioner John Kafalis. From the clerk's office, we have Diane Cheney, we have Lorenda Volker, our county manager, Tom Clayton from our Public Affairs, and Sarah Martin from the Commissioner's office. We will begin, as we always do, with public comment. And we have one person signed up, that's Cindy Buckhart. Cindy, I think you know the drill, but please introduce yourself and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Cindy Buckhart, President of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation. This past weekend, I sent an email on behalf of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation, a foundation that was established in 1953, 72 years ago. That is a long time ago. The very foundation that supported Larimer County in the passing of tax initiatives to purchase the land that the ranch event complex sits on and the construction costs to build the buildings. It was a foundation that promoted the tax initiatives to the citizens of Larimer County and saw it through its passage. How ironic that the very organization that promoted the tax initiatives to see the Larimer County Fairgrounds built is now not allowed to use it. The reason stated is for non-compliance, whatever that means. Apparently, the county commissioners and Connor McGrath know what non-compliance means but are not willing to share it with the foundation or the citizens of Larimer County. We have asked repeatedly to have the non-compliance spelled out on county letterhead, and this has not happened. If you truly agree with Connor McGrath that the foundation has broken some rule, then stand behind the non-compliance statement and put it in writing on letterhead, not an email, so it can be shared with the citizens of Larimer County. The Larimer County Fair is here. The foundation has asked about the Poultry Memorial Silent Auction, an auction that is in the memory of 3 young 4-H participants that have passed away at very young ages. The Poultry Department has established these scholarships in their memory. It is 2 scholarships that are given to 4-H members that have participated in the poultry program. What a shame if the silent auction to raise the scholarship funds does not occur because the foundation is not allowed on the fairgrounds. Their memory will be lost, and their memory that has been kept alive for so many years. As Commissioner Stevens stated, our 4-H youth are truly the soul of the fair. These young leaders demonstrate hard work, responsibility, and dedication. What is the purpose of the Larimer County Foundation but not to support these youth? Commissioner Stevens also stated that the county fair is special for the value we place in it, emotionally and culturally. The poultry auction is exactly that. It's where our past and our future meet. The Larimer County 4-H Foundation is the past and the future of 4-H. There should never be any question of the foundation being allowed to use the ranch facilities. After all, they are why there is even a ranch facility. The Larimer County Fair is a celebration of our values: community, hard work, heritage, and hope. This depicts the Larimer County 4-H Foundation. And I quote, "As a county commissioner, I am proud to support the fair, not just as an event, but as a reflection of who we are and what we believe in," end quote. Is this a true statement, Commissioner Stevens? As a Larimer County 4-H Club leader, then there should never be a question about the Larimer County 4-H Foundation and their ability to use the ranch facility that was built with 4-H in mind, and the 4-H Foundation is 100% about 4-H.
Thank you, Cindy. Is there anyone else in the audience who wanted to speak this morning? Okay, and seeing no hands raised. Sarah, was there anyone who we needed to call for public comment?
No, Commissioner.
Okay, then we will close public comment. I'll bring it back to the commissioners. Would either commissioner want to make any comments? Go ahead, Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Just again, appreciate everyone that comes and engages in public comment. We appreciate hearing from the concerns from the public. And I just wanted to say we appreciate the dialogue, but I just need to address that a letter was sent officially to the foundation and listed out all of the non-compliance and issues. And so I just want to make sure some of the information is corrected and accurate, and just kind of wanted to address that. But also want to share that we are very excited for the Fair and Rodeo, going back through all the history the last few days as we've been getting ready and excited for the fair rodeo to be happening. We're very excited to support the fair, excited for some of the new things that will be shared this week, and also wanted to make sure our commitment to 4-H and 4-H youth and the history and traditions of our fair and rodeo and how long it's been has never wavered, and we are very excited to be participating in many ways over the next few weeks. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis, any comments?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Once again, thank you, Cindy. It is my understanding that staff is currently working on a response to the most recent email that you sent us either yesterday or Sunday night. So you'll get a response. And the other comment I wish to make is I just wish that we could find a way to move forward and acknowledge things from the past, but moving forward, how we can further cooperatively work together. That is my wish.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that. And Cindy, I guess you asked publicly whether I'm, committed to 4-H, and I certainly am. I too am sorry that we sort of came to this impasse, and hope that we can figure this out, because I do understand the value of the foundation, and I know there have also been issues. So we will leave it at that for this morning, and hope you will all join us at the fair from August 1st through 5th. Thank you. So we'll move on to our next agenda item. That's approval of the minutes. And Commissioner Shattuck McNally, will you make a motion on that?
Certainly, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes for the week of July 14th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. And we will move to Sarah for our upcoming schedule review.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for July 28th through August 3rd, 2025. On Monday, July 28th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be a work session for a quarterly update on progress of the 2024 through 2028 strategic plan in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be land use items with the Development Review Team. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m., there will be land use items with the Development Review Team. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. On Tuesday, July 29th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. On Wednesday, July 30th, there will be an open schedule. On Thursday, July 31st, from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., the Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together July Interim Policy Meeting. From 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual US 287 Coalition Meeting. From 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Thompson Education Foundation reception at the Sweetheart Winery at 5500 West US 34 Highway in Loveland. From 6:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., Commissioners will attend the Larimer County Fair and Rodeo Queen's Barbecue at the Ranch Equestrian Center at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Friday, August 1st, from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Regional Air Quality Council Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 1445 Market Street in Denver or virtually via Zoom. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together member check-in. From 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Larimer County Fair and Rodeo Indigenous Blessing Ceremony at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Saturday, August 2nd, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., there will be Common Grounds with Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Topic and location will be announced prior to the meeting. From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will judge the Larimer County Fair Dairy Goat Costume Contest at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. And on Sunday, August 3rd, from 7 a.m. to 9:30 a.m., Commissioners will attend the Larimer County Fair and Rodeo Pancake Breakfast at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. And from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., commissioners may attend the Larimer County Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Rodeo at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland.
Thank you, Sarah. Any corrections or additions? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering, do we need to add the event after the blessing ceremony for our boards and commissions that will all, should that be noticed? Since all three of us are going, I'm just curious about that.
Yes, that's the appreciation event for boards and commission members. We'll add that. Thank you.
And nothing else, Commissioner?
I don't think so.
Okay. Commissioner Cavalis, anything? Okay, you're all good. That was a good catch. Thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally. The only thing that I wanted to add is I will be volunteering at the extension booth at the fair on Sunday from 10 to 1. So Commissioner Cavalis doesn't get to have all the fun with the goat costume contest. I will. I'll also get to help people learn about extension. Thank you. All right. So it looks like we got our schedule set. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. First item on the consent agenda is an abatement for a refund of taxes. You can find more about that online. We have 7 agreements on the consent agenda. First is a professional services agreement. This is a contract to provide a wide range of disaster management, mitigation, and recovery professional service on an as-needed basis with Synergy Disaster Recovery, LLC. The next agreement is an intergovernmental agreement concerning the Arrowhead Red Tail Conservation Project. This is an intergovernmental agreement between Larimer County and the City of Loveland concerning the acquisition and conservation of the Arrowhead Red Tail property near Berthoud. The dollar amount is approximately $1.8 million. Next, we have the conveyance of permanent drainage easement to Larimer County to make improvements in the Mountain Range Shadow subdivision stormwater conveyance facilities. Another conveyance for the permanent drainage easement for Mountain Range Shadows Home Association. This is a second one for drainage. Then there is a State of Colorado intergovernmental agreement between the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing and Larimer County Human Services. And this is to create performance-based benchmarks and deliverables for county departments of human social services to achieve performance standards related to county administration. That's a term that runs through June of next year, and the total dollar amount is approximately $465,000. Then a State of Colorado intergovernmental agreement between the Healthcare Policy and Financing and Larimer County Office on Aging. And this contract is to expand the capacity of aging and disability resources to enable the Arctic site to respond to minimum data set. And so the total dollar amount on this is approximately $136,000. And then finally, we have a collaborative management program memorandum of understanding. And this MOU is for the Larimer County Interagency Oversight Group and is a requirement of human services for our local collaborative management program. The state allocation on this one was approximately $243,000, and there is no county match. We have 2 appointments on our agenda, a recommended appointment to the Parks Advisory Board for Andy Tesla, and that is a term that will, did I pronounce that wrong?
Sorry, I was just practicing it because I had met him. Tesla. It's like almost Tesla is what he had said before.
Tesla. Okay, and with the term ending June 30th, 2028. And then, patience while I turn the page. And then a recommended appointment to the Board of Adjustment for Brannon Hughes, and that will be a full-term appointment that will end June 30th, 2028. We have a special event liquor permit license for Fort Collins Nursery called for the Rock Garden Concert, and that is in the Fort Collins area. And we have 3 miscellaneous items. The first is the treasurer's 6-month report. The treasurer does furnish a semi-annual financial report to our board. according to state statute, and we publish that in a legal newspaper, and so we will be approving that 6-month report. It includes collections from current taxes, delinquent taxes, miscellaneous collection and transfers, withdrawals from each fund showing cash disbursements, transfers, treasurer's fees, and the balance at the end of each of the period in each fund. So that is for transparency's purpose. And so this report is for the time period from January 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2025. And then we also have the second quarter 2025 public trustee report by our treasurer, Irene Josie. And this is a summary of activity that happened between April 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025. So we thank our treasurer and public trustee, Irene Josie, for those reports. And then finally, we have an annual compliance certification report, monitoring and permit deviation report. And this is required by the landfill's air emissions permits. And since Larimer County purchased the flare from Larimer Energy on May 1st, we now have 2 operating permits, one for overall landfill operations and one for the landfill gas flare, and the landfill is currently in compliance with both of these permits. So that is it for the consent agenda. Would anyone want to pull anything from the consent agenda, Commissioner?
Madam Chair, I don't want to pull anything, but if I might, I'd just like to make a special note on 2 of the items, especially since I'm the liaison for the Office on Aging and for the Larimer County Interagency Oversight Group. I just wanted to make note to my colleagues that both those amounts that we receive for the state to do that really important work are significantly and greatly reduced, which will really inhibit and significantly impact the work, the great work of that group, those groups, and I just want to make special note of that. One of them is almost half. So I just wanted to kind of take a moment for that. I don't want to wish to pull anything, and I apologize for interrupting earlier. It's just I recognize that name, and I was practicing it so I could maybe make sure, and I see him next time I pronounce it correctly for myself. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally, for highlighting that for us. Yeah, there are a lot of cases in which we are getting fewer dollars from both the federal and the state government for really important work that we do in our communities. So thank you for highlighting that. No one wants to pull anything. So I will ask Commissioner Kofalis to make a motion on this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I move to approve the consent agenda for July 22nd, 2025.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 That passes 3-0. Do either of you have guests this morning? Oh, Commissioner Kofalis?
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge a person in the audience, Natalie. She will begin her high school senior year shortly and will be interning with us during the remainder of the summer, as well as, if all goes well, the academic year.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Commissioner, and welcome, Natalie. We're glad to have you. I don't have a guest, but I will have a guest next week. Maggie Livingston, the current rodeo and fair queen, will be joining us to talk about the work that she's done this year. So that should be fun. A little royalty in the house, if you will. So we will move on to our discussion items. And our first item is a very good news item. We get to recognize one of our county staff members, and that is Jeff Green. And Jeff was awarded the Public Risk Manager of the Year. And this item was submitted by Lori Lopez. So Lori, you're going to come up and introduce that. And Jeff, we want you to come up so we can say all kinds of nice things about you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm really excited to be here this morning. I'm Lori Lopez, the Finance Director, and I'm so proud to introduce Jeff Green, our Risk Manager, and here to celebrate his award. Jeff was named Public Risk Manager of the Year by the Public Risk Management Association, and this is a national association. There are about 1,400 government members, and so it's a big deal. We to be nominated and not just nominated, but awarded the distinction. I also wanted to note, I think it speaks volumes of Jeff. He was nominated by his current and former employees. And I think that speaks very highly to Jeff. He is a wonderful mentor to his staff. In fact, 3 of his former staff have gone on to be public risk managers elsewhere, which is great for them. Tough on Jeff. But the criteria used for this selection was very in-depth, and it kind of closely mirrors our guiding principles, which I thought was wonderful. Jeff just does a great job. And when Jeff was named, the association sent out a film crew and to document what Jeff does. And Jeff made it clear that he didn't want the video to be about him. He wanted to showcase the county and all of the wonderful services we provide and all of his partners. So with that, also I wanted to mention we have all of the risk staff here today to celebrate with Jeff. So with that, we have 2 videos to show. One is the video that the film crew produced, and that's here. And then the second one is Jeff's acceptance speech that he did at the conference. So with that, Jeff, do you have any words to say before we get started?
No.
Okay.
Let's watch the video.
Okay.
Larimer County is a large county in northern Colorado, stretching from the Wyoming border to our north all the way to the Continental Divide on our east. We're nearly twice the size of Rhode Island. We have 5 municipalities here in Larimer County, including Colorado State University and part of Rocky Mountain National Park.
Challenges that you face as a risk manager here at Larimer County is just the breadth of the exposures here. I characterize Larimer County as a corporate entity with 26 different subsidiary companies, all doing something different.
He, in my mind, is a unicorn in this arena. He has both technical skills and people skills, and he uses the combination of those two to run a very effective program here at the county. The county's grown about 31% in the last 15 years, but we have had fewer work comp injuries in 2024 than we did 15 years ago. I think that's a very good testament to Jeff and his program.
It's so important to have a strong relationship between a risk manager and a county attorney. We're on the same page, and so it really makes the message easier for our clients to understand. It makes both of us more effective, and I'm really appreciative of that relationship. I think it makes for a much better end product for our clients.
We've done over $130 million of new building in the last few years alone, and Jeff's been instrumental in that. When we're doing a solicitation, we provide it to Jeff and his team, and they provide us with the insurance requirements that are specific to that RFP. And that's really important for us to set those insurance requirements really early for vendors so that they're aware of what exactly they need to purchase if they don't have those lines of insurance, and they can build those costs into their response.
It's so much more than just the buying policies, setting coverage amounts, setting type amounts. He really gets down in the weeds, so to speak. He engages with all of the county departments. People in Larimer County know who Jeff is. They know what services he can offer to them. And I really think that's half the battle. People know that he can help.
We really have become an integral business partner to our operating groups. It's been very successful to get to know all of our operating units, know their business, and develop personal relationships. And it's really fostered a culture of risk management around the county.
He cares about both the organization and the employee, and it comes across that way. He is a strong mentor for his staff. He is active in his state association. He's been appointed by the governor to serve on committees. He is a well-rounded risk manager who is first a human and then a coworker and a professional. Jeff is outstanding.
He really works to elevate his staff.
I have always had in my career Staff move on to become risk managers either in public or private entities, and I don't want to stand in their way.
He knew that we were not always going to stay here with him, and he never held us back to keep us with him. He always encouraged us to learn more, to trust ourselves, and to push higher in risk management. And I think that he's really building something for risk management, both in the state of Colorado and nationally. He is a remarkable mentor.
I think the most satisfying part of my job is when staff leave to go be a risk manager somewhere else. That makes me feel good.
I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life until I actually took this role, and I found my niche in risk management. And Jeff was the one who gave me that foot in the door. And so not only am I grateful to him, but I'm glad that he's getting this award because I feel that he's truly deserving of it.
You know he's a good person. He works really hard, and he's so deserving of this award. So I couldn't be happier for him.
I think that sometimes he doesn't necessarily want to be in the limelight, to have all the videos on him and all the pictures of him, but this is really special. And Jeff really deserves it because really he has kind of paved the way for a lot of people, and he continues to do that, and I think that is very honorable. I'm very proud of him.
It's a real honor, and I think it's a recognition that I'm doing a good job.
I think that he deserves it so much because he tries so hard for us to make sure that we have the ability to follow in his footsteps.
He just makes the county a better place.
Wow, what an honor. I'm truly humbled to accept Prima's Public Risk Manager of the Year award, especially since I had no idea I had even been nominated. First and foremost, I want to express my gratitude to Prima and to Aon for sponsoring this prestigious award. This recognition is not just about me. It reflects the incredible team I'm proud to be part of at Larimer County. And I share it with every member of our risk management department, past and present, many of whom are here today. Your expertise, hard work, and dedication are the reason our program continues to thrive. I also want to recognize my colleagues across Larimer County organization as a whole. Thank you for embracing risk management as a shared responsibility. From wildfires and floods, to the daily work of protecting our coworkers and community from injury or loss, our strength has always come from collaboration, innovation, and adaptability. At Larimer County, risk management is more than just a discipline. It's a culture that extends into our community. To my business partners at TriStar, Gallagher, Select Actuarial, thank you for being such trusted collaborators. You are an essential part of our team, and we are better because of you. As I look out across this room, I am excited about the future of public risk management. I am inspired by what is possible when public entities lead with foresight and integrity. With Prima's commitment to excellence in risk management education, and the strong community of professionals here in the room today, I know we will keep raising the bar together. Thank you again for this honor.
Wow. Okay. So did you want to come back up, or did Jeff want to say anything, or did you feel?
I'll answer any questions.
Okay. Do you want to come up, and does anyone have any questions for? We'll probably want to say some more nice things about you, so you might have to be patient with that. Any questions, commissioners, or anything you want to say to Jeff? Go ahead, Commissioner Kafalis.
I'll ask one question since Jeff was soliciting questions, but then I have a few kind words I'd like to share.
All right.
And that is, how long have you been with the county?
I joined in March of 2008, so a little over 17 years.
Wonderful. Thank you. May I share a few comments? So let's see, where does one begin? There was a reference to the guiding principles, the 6 guiding principles that the county has, which provide a framework for how we attempt to do work around here. And certainly a couple of those guiding principles that come to mind, and of course with Lori's finance department, is being good stewards of our resources. And that certainly includes our financial resources, providing good customer service, both to the internal and the external customers, and, basically empowering folks, staff, to rise above and recognize their full potential. So I think your work, who you are, embodies those, at least all of those, the 6 guiding principles, but those that come to mind. The second thing I wanted to mention is in the time that I've been here at the county, which has been quite an amazing time, and my interactions with you, I've always found you to be a very good listener, a bit soft-spoken, and a really trusted source of information. So when we have all of those fascinating discussions, sometimes in executive session about claims or workers' compensation, or perhaps settlements, and you're there with the attorneys, I'm not ready to make a decision or provide direction until I've heard from our esteemed risk manager. So I really appreciate your experience and your thoughtfulness and your knowledge and your expertise, and that matters a lot. And certainly, finally, these are interesting times to say the least. There's a bit of uncertainty out there, and what we've learned over the last few years that the state legislature likes to pass laws that aren't always properly funded, and oftentimes the requirements of those laws increase our risk, increase our liability, and we really have to manage that, navigate that to make sure we're not exceeding things. We have good reserves, we have money in the bank to pay claims, and we're able to rebuild that. So thank you very much, Jeff Green. I hadn't thought about the idea that I understood the idea that we're a giant enterprise, but that the 26 subsidiaries, paying attention to all that is a pretty monumental task. But I believe you have a good team, and that helps a great deal. Thank you. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really cool to be here today. I'm going to copy those videos and share them because I think it's important. Folks don't always think about this kind of service, but also really important function in the county, taking care of folks. And I know you don't like being up here getting the praise, but I'll have to build on top of what Commissioner Kafalis said. As we make really important decisions, we really rely on the expertise of staff and kind of their experience and their insights to help guide us with some pretty big decisions that we don't have all the information and expertise and years of experience that you have. And we have relied on you heavily. I rely on you heavily for either legislation that's coming on that, on the dashboard, danger, this is really bad for us, all the way to just advising us on issues that come before us. It's been an interesting journey. I agree with Commissioner Kafalis. I was thinking back to Forbes listed the county as the top 800 mid-sized best companies in the country. And I was thinking about why that was. It's because I think we have amazing employees who do, get out an amazing service, but also I think they look at things like this risk management and financial management. And I think that your work and your staff's work is a big part of why, all of our employees, why we ended on that list, because really it's about, I always say I'm a lucky commissioner, but it's really about the employees who do the work for the community. And I was talking about this with Lorenda yesterday, how lucky we are. We have all these folks who are directors, managers, who is still palpable, even on these uncertain and challenging times, which has been since I came on the board in 2020. You think we had COVID, we had a pandemic, we had economic inflation challenges, we had a wildfire and flooding and trying to recover from all that. But the staff continually show up with their enthusiasm and their passion for their work. And Jeff, yours has never wavered. If anything, you have doubled down on the importance of this and managing this, because it is not only a financial stewardship of taxpayer dollars, but also taking care of our folks in our community and our county, to eliminate risks, to take care of folks. And I think this, and I'm not sure who said this, if this was in the video, but maybe you said this, Lori, that we grew 31% over 15 years, but we have fewer claims and injuries than we did 15 years ago. That's massive. If you think about that, it's huge, because when we're taking care of those, we're taking care of all the employees and visitors who come and walk on county grounds or staff. So I just wanted to also note that you, the big thing about people nominating you and you lifting up other employees and employees have moved on to become risk management directors, that's just really impressive, and I think really important to note, because it's those who are really leave a legacy as a leader, who pretty much get to the top of the ladder, reach around and pull everyone up behind them and pull them up and put them above the ladder, on the ladder above them. And you've done that obviously over and over again, and to be nominated for folks, but investing in the development and empowerment of our most important assets, our employees. So I always say I'm elected commissioner, because we can't do this without the 2,000 employees who come and work at the county every day. But we build, with that kind of mindset, we build a stronger local government, and it also helps build a stronger, more resilient community that's equipped to thrive in this ever-changing world, because changes. The last year, I feel like it's changing on a daily basis. It's like I wake up in the morning like, what's happening now? And I just wanted to also note, good public service staff who work for the betterment of our communities are characterized by a couple of qualities: dedication, integrity, and a commitment to serving the public good and the better good for all. And Jeff, you are that in spades, if not just the exemplar of what that means to be a public service employee. And I can't be more proud, and we're so grateful you work here and for work you do. Congratulations, well-deserved recognition.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I'm not sure anything's been left unsaid, so I just want to thank you for your work, and really glad you received this honor. We would have certainly helped with the nomination had we known that was happening, but really grateful for your team for acknowledging the work that you do. As Commissioner Kafalis and Commissioner Shattuck McNally both said, we look to you in very difficult times often for your guidance, and you've always been there with sort of a clear head and a practical response for us that we know we can trust time after time, and that's been really valuable. So we don't get to see you out in the field, so it was kind of fun to see you, testing doors and measuring, ADA signs. Your work is much more than what we see on a limited basis, and so that was fun to see the video. And it was fun to see the video too, because you're clearly respected by your peers and people that you work with across the county organizations. So I'm just really grateful to have you in this role. We didn't really know about your mentorship, at least I didn't. So I thought that was a really nice touch to know that you've helped people on their way in their career too. That's what we all want to do, right? Is not just lift ourselves up and our own accomplishments, but really share that knowledge with others and get them and lift them up as well. And so just a remarkable, career, which is not done yet. Hopefully many years of serving the county, although I don't know, no pressure there, but certainly as things are difficult right now, and financial stewardship is so incredibly important in a time when we feel like there's not only a lot of uncertainty about where we're getting dollars in the federal and state level, but also really a lot of rules coming down from the state that are definitely to protect people and do the public good, but sometimes can really interfere with some of the financial obligations that we have to provide services. And so there again, your steady hand is just so valued, and we really appreciate you. And I'll let Lorinda have a few words as well, even though she had some on the video too.
Well, there are a couple of things that Jeff would probably not say about himself that we should likely call attention to. So not only is he respected and we look to him for advice, so does the state and his peers across the nation. He served on the board for the Colorado chapter of Prima for the last 8 years. He's been president for 4 years. That is a testament, I think, to your leadership at the state level, the way that you're looked at, and I think the county benefits from that as well, that those strong professional relationships give you the deepest network, I think, that you could have to be able to call upon peers when something new comes to us that we've not seen before, but maybe someone else has experienced. I'm sure you get a lot of those calls asking for lifelines as well. Jeff also leads our United Way committee. So internally, not only does he do great work professionally, he's a pretty good guy. He picked up the food drive this year when we really didn't have a home for it. The Guiding Principles champions weren't really sure how to go forward with it. And Jeff said, sure, we'll take that on. And so in addition to United Way, you've taken that on this year as well. Thank you. We call on Jeff to testify for us for state issues related to workers' comp and risk management at the Capitol. And he is an excellent representative of both his profession and the county. And he's been appointed by 2 different governors to serve on the State Special Funds Board for Self-Insurers. That's kind of a board most of us don't think about, but it's very prestigious in this industry, and it is a real honor that you've been appointed by 2 different governors to serve on that board. So we've embarrassed you for months now about this. We have celebrated him in various ways. I think you're hoping we're done with it now, but please,
It's getting close.
just enjoy this. This is one of those awards that people often nominate themselves for, and 6 of his former and current coworkers were part of this nomination. So this is really unheard of. Really is a testament to who you are. Thank you for all you do for all of us and for the community that doesn't even really see what you do. You work for them every day.
Well, thank you very much for all the kind words. Thank my staff. I mean, they're really the boots on the ground, and they make it happen every day. So thank you.
Thank you. And since apparently you're good at videos and all that, we are going to stop for a photo opportunity. We get one last one, and your humility is part of what makes you, a great leader in our organization. So, but we got to take the photo, and your team is welcome to join us in that. All right, we'll pause for a minute then.
I'm Lori Lopez. I'm the finance director here for the county. And our auditor, Matthew Marino with Reuben Brown, is going to come up and say a few words. But before he does, I just want to say a few words. So today we brought the team, the accounting team that puts together this beautiful document that you have. There's a lot of work that goes into this document. It takes us a good 5 months to get it together, and it's very detailed and prescribed, and there's a lot of accounting standards that we apply. But I usually say, I think I always say this every year, but it bears repeating. This is a team effort, not only internal to finance, but it's a team effort with all of our departments and our offices that we work with. So they are in the weeds with their daily operations, and then we take all that information and we put it together and compile it into this ACFR, as we call it, with all the accounting standards. It takes a great deal of effort and experience and knowledge of those government accounting standards. So I just want to acknowledge the team. They're wonderful. We also have a few changes in our department. So I am new to this role, and as controller, I was a controller before. We now have Saras Mohammed, who is our controller. And last year she was the accounting manager. And so now we have Kara Slowey, who's the accounting manager. And then we have our team of accountants. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Marino, and he'll let you know about our audit results. And then if you have any questions for us, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Lopez. Appreciate that. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to mostly spend time on the viewpoints because that's a summation of the audit results. But if there's something you'd like me to dive into more detail, I will definitely do that. Thank you, Lori. Thank you to your entire team. The audit process went as planned, on time, with no huge surprises. And that's no small feat, as your county is complex. Things are always changing. Accounting standards are always changing. And your team is always very engaging at the front end when things are new and asking how can we do this best or better. And so that's much appreciated from an auditor's perspective, that we're going to call balls and strikes. We're going to give an opinion, but we would like it to be a team effort, which it is. And that is very great to work with. So thank you. So we do issue a couple different reports every year as part of the audit process, because the county receives and expends more than $750,000 of federal funds, soon to be $1 million. That threshold is being inflationary increased just by the Office of Management and Budget. We do an extra audit in addition to your financial statement audit. We do what's commonly called a single audit or a federal expenditures audit. So I'll report on that as well. So as far as the financial statement audit goes, we did issue an unmodified or clean opinion. Very unexciting language for a gold star, but that's the highest level of report we can issue. So that just means that we noted no material changes needed to happen to your financial statements. As Lori alluded to, your team puts these together. We merely audit them and make sure that there's nothing that we can't opine on, that we feel that they're not materially misstated. And so applaud to your team working very hard. We did have just a handful of just one past adjustment and then one adjustment that we worked with the county to correct a very complex transaction that we went back and forth on a couple different times. So nothing to report there. We also issued a report on the internal control over financial reporting. Nothing to report there as far as a material weakness or significant deficiencies. And then we also issued an unmodified opinion on the single audit report, and we did look at 5 different programs. Those programs rotate on a different risk-based approach, much like Jeff's team. We have a risk-based approach when we're doing auditing, and so we have to go through and audit programs at different levels on every year to make sure that we're hitting a good percentage of the federal spend that the county has. As part of the this year, we did have to implement one new accounting standard. It was Governmental Accounting Standards number 101. It has to do with compensated absences. So there was just a change on how the accounting is to be done with regard to compensated absences. And it's not just your vacation, it could be sick time, any other sort of compensated absences. So depending on the organization, it can get really, really complex. Your team did work through that. They did a great job. All of the accounting impacts have been reflected in the current financials. Nothing crazy large, other than it did take some time on your team to do it, but it wasn't a gigantic financial impact to you all. I want to point that out. As far as the overall accounting, really nothing exciting to report to you. Nothing lacked authoritative guidance. Really nothing that I need to bring to your attention. Inherent in every set of financial statements are estimates. So we talk about this a little bit every year. The estimates that are in your financials are the ones that I would expect to see. Your incurred but not reported with regard to your self-insurance, your closure and post-closure costs regard to landfill, how long the infrastructure is going to last with regard to modified infrastructure, as well as the estimates that we made over the last couple of years when we were implementing the leasing standard and the subscription-based information technology arrangement standard. Same ones as there last year. We look at them, make sure there's nothing big that we need to talk to them about. Really, they were what we would expect to see. Inherent in every set of financial statements are a bunch of disclosures. So you have your core financial statements and you have footnotes. There's a handful of footnotes I'd draw your attention to. Footnote 6 talks about your self-insurance. Footnote 7 talks about the landfill closure and post-closure costs and how that works. Footnote 9 talks about our long-term liabilities. And then footnote 17 talks about our significant commitments and any contingent liabilities that we've recorded. Really, they're really things that you would see in virtually any county in Colorado. So that's nothing to report there. Talked about the adjustments. We did not have to talk to any of our firm-specified personnel regarding any complex things. Really, it was a pretty routine year. I think the county is a great spot going forward with your accounting and finance team. Even though you've had turnover over time, you've had people step up into different roles, and it seems like things are only looking to continue the great role that we've been on as far as have good, clean, transparent financial reporting. As far as the single audits, the programs that we did look at, I'll just run through them real quick. We did look at temporary assistance for needy families, your Title IV Child Support Enforcement Program. We looked at your COVID-19 ARPA, or your state fiscal recovery funds money, and that's nearing its end, and so that should be going away. Highway planning and construction, and the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And so those are the 5 programs we looked at. Nothing to report there. No, nothing out of compliance or anything that we need to alert you to with regard to that. That concludes the things I need to go through, but I will turn it over for questions and close out after that.
Great, thank you, Matt. Any questions? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words and the thorough report. When we do this every year, it comes back, and we're really grateful for the gold star that's really attributed to the wonderful work of the staff. And you talked about the new standards that have been implemented, especially with some of the software subscriptions and things like that you mentioned.
Correct.
And we're kind of in this interesting change, because we had still dealing with kind of the ARPA money and the COVID and kind of finalizing some of that, and now kind of these new changes in uncertain times. Do you see anything on the horizon that we as commissioners, as our more than exemplary staff are here in the room, as we're navigating this together, something that as policymakers we should be thinking about that might be on the horizon with some of these changes at the federal and state level and uncertain times and financial or budget concerns that we're going forward? I'm just curious of what you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I'll hit that from 2 different levels. Yes, the uncertainty on how federal funding is going to work is impacting governments, nonprofits, state agencies, and I think uncertainty is very hard to predict, and so definitely keeping up to date on what's happening at the federal level, working with them on that is crucially important, because there are certain programs that could be slated for adjustments and how they're going to be funded, so that's important. But also the Governmental Accounting Standards Board is very busy issuing new standards, and they get to hear from the likes of me, Lori, and her team all the time on how to make financial reporting better. But I sometimes question whether it's really better for those who aren't finance professionals and don't look at these all day long. I would like these financials to continue to be a resource to any public person who picks it up, and you don't have to have a degree in accounting to understand what they're saying. So I would encourage you to work with Lori and her team if there are accounting standards that you don't think are going to add to the usefulness of financial statements. They're going to hear from us all the time about how we don't like it, but I think it really carries weight from you all if you feel like it doesn't add to the financial usefulness of the document.
Thank you, and that's a great point, because we also want to be transparent and accountable to our public, and if they look at that, it's great to hear that we got a gold star and there's no issues. I know when you talk about material weaknesses and stuff, I'm on another board that we're going through a big audit, and that's kind of something that I'm learning more about. But I certainly welcome Lori and everyone to maybe give us some ideas that we can talk with our federal and state partners about maybe making things. There's always great to improve, but maybe we need to make sure we're not adding more complexities for our staff and things that are going to, in the long run, maybe cost us trying to navigate. And I do appreciate you being here today and appreciate the report. And I'm sure I'll look at those sections you mentioned. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Matt. In the spirit of what you just said, and in the ongoing spirit of transparency and accountability to the public that we serve, a couple of questions there. It's all in one. Why is it important, on behalf of the people we represent, that we go through this audit process? Why is it important that once again we received a clean bill of health? And what are a couple of key takeaways for regular folks to get from our conversation this morning?
Yes, I'll answer that from a couple of different levels. We have several different stakeholders that look at your financials. Your any lien holders or anybody who's going to issue funding for different projects are important because they want to know that you're going to have the ability to carry that out. We as a county have a responsibility to carry out certain services, whether it be human services, emergency services, roads, you name it, jails, all that sort of stuff. And so having a clean bill of health is important because that ensures that we can continue delivering service at a high level. And your county not only does it at an audit level, but we also submit this, your county submits it to the Government Finance Officers Association for the award. And so you don't have to do that. It's an optional thing to do, but you have done it as a customary practice for many, many years. And you did receive the award for last year, and we're anticipating you'll receive the award for this year as well. So it's important, and that's why I'm so passionate about the financials being clear and transparent, because people see hundreds of millions of dollars and they think, well, why aren't we doing this or why aren't we doing that? And sometimes it's a accounting nuance. It's not that the county is sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars with nothing to do with it. Sometimes it's just how the accounting works with regard to that. So that's why I think it's important.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you for your work. And, I agree. It's sort of kind of a story of how we spent our dollars and what our future looks like with regard to risk and other obligations. And so it isn't necessarily easy to digest, but it's really important to have that information out there. With regard to sort of the long-term liabilities, can you talk a little bit about the landfill closure and how you kind of that's a pretty tricky thing to. We have a lot of obligations when it comes to a landfill closure. It's not just that we close it and we open the new one and see you. And so can you talk about sort of risks in that space or what that looks like?
Yes. So as part of that process, there's some accounting standards that say what have to be done, and I won't bore you with that detail. But what happens as part of that process is the county engages with engineers and industry experts to say, okay, number one, how full is the landfill? How many years out before it's at full capacity and it has to be fully closed? And then the idea being is that by the time you're ready to close it, you need to have accumulated enough resources to close the landfill in compliance with all of the different regulations and being good stewards of our land. And so that's where the accounting behind that, but it's really reliant on your county finance staff as well as industry experts weighing in, and they issue a report saying we are this X percent capacity. This is where we're going to need to close it. Here's what we think it's going to cost to close it down based on current market rates for different services. So.
And I think it just kind of goes to highlight some of those expenditures that we have in the future that you're absolutely right when you said we're not sort of sitting on dollars. And in fact, I mean, what a lot of this shows is that a lot of this is so statutorial required that we really have to, any money that we do have is often plugged into a specific space that we can't, do something else that seems fun or interesting to do because we have obligations to our community and they're statutorily required for us. So, and especially I think that there is a lot of complexity, and especially when in getting federal dollars in human services. I mean, that's its own space. So it is tricky, and we thank you for your work on this, and certainly no excitement in the world of accounting is always a good thing. But really want to thank our staff for the work that you did to produce this document and to get this all together. I think we'll always look for ways to sort of make this more digestible to me as well as the public. But there is a lot of complexity in a big organization that takes federal dollars and that deals with all kinds of different requirements and different fiscal years. And so kudos to the people who understand how to put that together and make sense of that. And thank you for your work. Anything further before we let Matt go?
I think he has more to do.
Oh, do you have more to do?
No, it was really just to make sure I left enough time for questions. As is always, if there's questions, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information, even if it's for another organization, we're here to help improve accounting for everybody. So even if we're not engaged with your organization, I can point you in the right direction. So we just want to make sure clear and transparent accounting is happening across the board, whether it be government, nonprofit, or wherever.
Thank you. And do you foresee any new accounting standards for the upcoming year, or does that when do you find that out?
There's virtually a couple accounting standards we have to evaluate every year. So
okay,
yes.
All right. Okay.
Luckily they're not as large as the leases and the subscription-based information technologies, but for example, the governmental accounting standards were looked at going concern, which is the ability of an organization to keep doing whatever it's supposed to be doing. It's really not been a governmental concept because you're like, well, governments don't go out of business, but they have in the past. And so that's where just some disclosures, also some disclosures on concentrations around like if an entity's really exposed, like Detroit's a great example. They're really reliant on the auto industry. There's some economic risk associated with that. And so the accounting standards have talked about disclosing some of that to the readers of the financials.
Oh, okay. I think that with lots of federal dollars, we all have some risk in that space.
That as well. So, and that could be a disclosure.
And unlike Detroit, we don't have any paintings that we can sell to make up the difference. But well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Perhaps the county manager.
Oh, county manager, would you like to say anything?
I guess I'll just thank staff, Lori, Saras, the whole team. This is you, this is your work, and when the auditors come look at it and compliment you on your cooperation and the way that you approach the audit, it makes me really proud to be the county manager. So thank you very much. And I guess I'll say to the public, for the accounting standards, the changes, things like the days when we used to have on-premise software, we would buy something and it would be a thing that we owned and we would own it for a number of years. Changing to subscription-based is what is happening. And so it's good to see these change and evaluate the new way of doing business. It would be great if it was more plain language and if it was easier to understand. But it does make sense to look at it differently than we looked at it even 10 years ago. So I appreciate that you all come in and take a look at our systems and our assets and our liabilities and the way that we do business. And we always know that you will provide any guidance that you can for things we can do better. And it's even better to get a gold star and a clean report. So thank you all.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Matt. So we do have a motion to make here, and I'll ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make that motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all. And congratulations. Appreciate each and every one of you and the work you do. And thank you again, Jeff. And so I move to approve the I move to approve the 2024 annual comprehensive financial report.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Well, thank you. So we will move on to our third and final item on the agenda, and that is, well, not on the agenda, but I guess on the discussion agenda, and that is the updating of Colorado traffic laws with regard to child safety seats. And this is an action that brings Larimer County's traffic code in line with best practices in the state law. And is Sergeant Samuel Roth here? Lorinda, do you know who was going to introduce this item?
No, we have done this before, so we did, I believe we did read this into the record. And so this is the second chance for you all to talk about it and see if this is what you want to adopt. So maybe that's why he's not here today, is because it is the second reading.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us know about that. So it is the second reading, and we will be adopting this ordinance today. Any comments from commissioners on this ordinance? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I do think we did read this in the record and briefly discussed it last time. And we appreciate the sheriff's office and the deputies who track this and take care of some of these updates, because they're all about public safety, especially when it comes to children and safety seats. And so I think as Colorado updates its traffic laws, especially when it comes to child safety seats, which are really important for everyone to understand the importance of those and how those designs and changes, and sometimes if they've been involved with the accident, they should be replaced. I know there's lots of ways of folks, nonprofits, and I think even through some of our first responder organizations, they can, for those in need, can get a safety seat. But it's really for us to bring this into best practices and to be complying with state law. So I believe anytime we're doing what we can to improve safety and be in alignment with the best standards and practices, I'm all supportive. So that's all I had to say, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cavallo, any comments?
Briefly, just that the intent here is to update our county traffic codes to align with recent changes in state law, and in the end that will improve public safety, especially as it pertains to kids in car seats and booster seats, depending on their size, their weight, and all of that.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess I would just want the public to be aware of some of those changes that happened. And I think they actually happened maybe in the beginning of the year. But so you may have a child who you thought could be out of a booster seat who now needs to be in a booster seat. So I would ask people to kind of refer to the laws. But one of the things in sort of looking this up is that children must be at least 40 pounds to be in a booster seat and must stay in the booster seat until they are 9 years old, and that was previously 8 years old. So keep those booster seats. If they're in your garage, put them back in your car, I guess, and you might need to use them an additional year. So just for families, they might want to find out, because we'll be enforcing those rules here in Larimer County with this ordinance in place. I think statewide they've already been in place, and like everyone said, we want to get our ordinances and laws to reflect what's happening at the state level. So please check that out if you have children in car seats or booster seats, so you understand those laws. And with that, I will ask Commissioner Cavallo to make a motion on this item.
Yes, I move to adopt the amended ordinance on child safety seats on second reading.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. So we'll move on to our county manager update.
Thank you, commissioners. And I'll just add to that last item, CDOT.gov has a safety tab that has all the information you need about this updated state law that is now a county regulation as well. So CDOT.gov, and then click on the safety tab at the top of the page. Lori Kadrich and I had the opportunity to take a site tour of the what's coming to be the Children's Museum of Northern Colorado. It's in Loveland. It's situated at what used to be the Outlet Mall. It is a really great space. It is going to be very exciting. They have tape on the ground to demonstrate where things will be. I think some of you may have taken tours as well. They have done their fundraising efforts to get ready for this. They've got design underway. There'll be a really large section on water education, not just for children, but for their families, so the adults who come as well. Sponsored by Northern Water, which was really interesting. It's about a quarter of the facility that will be this water table for kids to play with and to really see how water flows through our county. So thank you to Ryan Howard, the director of the museum, for that tour. I also had a chance to meet with City of Fort Collins city manager, and she and I have lunch from time to time. There are a couple of issues we've been working on, particularly some that you all have addressed with some residents that live in the county but are affected by some city properties. And so I appreciate Kelly DiMartino's attention to those things. Great partner as we try to work through some of this, and hopefully that'll help us get back to those residents. I also met with our treasurer, Irene Josie. I met with the Estes Park town manager, Travis Michalik, Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce CEO and President Ann Hutchinson. And then we have a liaison meeting with every other month with the city of Fort Collins, the Poudre School District in the county. And we had a chance to preview a presentation on sort of the impact of the economy, both at the state level and the federal level, as well as some impact of sales tax and the way that interplays with the hospital systems, the school system, the county, the city, and local business. And so if we can get that organization, that slideshow organized, we'll be able to present that to the community just so they understand. We see these things coming on the horizon. We are talking to each other about these things. We don't want to duplicate efforts, so we want to make the most of the resources that each of us are given. And so we're really planning hard on demonstrating that we do as a region collaborate, which is really unusual. I think it's pretty special in Northern Colorado that we do talk to each other quite so much. So we'll see where that goes and what we have to show you in terms of those slides. And then finally, just another congratulations to Jeff. It really is a big honor to have you here and to have this award come to you and through you to the county. So thank you for all you do. And to Lori and the accounting team on a clean audit. What a great morning this has been to celebrate the good work that our staff does.
Thank you, Lorinda. Any questions or comments for Lorinda? No? All right. Well, thanks for your report and thanks for your work. So we will move on to commissioner reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thanks, Madam Chair. And I'll just start by, again, we've already talked a lot, but I just want to again congratulate Lori and Jeff and the staff for, again, the national award, well-deserved. And Lori, I know we're in a time of transition and you're kind of in their first real year in this new role, but you've been involved with this all the time for all these years. And I just wanted to say, well done again to you and your team. It's really a proud moment that we work hard all year long, but to have this kind of moment to take a pause and recognize what like I said, lucky commissioner, what amazing staff and work that you all do. It's really, I feel really an honor and privilege to work alongside you with all the things that this county does. It never ceases to inspire me every week. So I'll go back to last week. Last Tuesday, instead of being here in this meeting, I was testifying at the State Capitol and Wildfire Matters Review Committee. That committee is through the state legislature, and I serve on the Forest Health Council as one of the 4 commissioners that are allowed to be on the Forest Health Council. It's a very diverse group, and we present and account to the governor and the General Assembly. So we gave some ideas for what we think are legislative priorities. I chair that legislative committee and serve also on the Leveraging Resources Committee. And as we know, a lot of things are changing with the budget, not a lot of things to ask for, but we're all still trying to just maintain the programming like co-swap and the furworm grants and things, which our county has been very fortunate to receive some of that money from the state to do wildfire mitigation. And so it was. I got lots of feedback. I was amazed how many people that are not related to that, even law firms were watching it and listening, had texted me and they thought we did a pretty good job being thrown some curveball questions. But it was really appreciate the opportunity. My time to testify got moved up a little bit, and that's why I couldn't be here. But I wanted to be in person, and it's important to try to represent not only the Forest Health Council but Larimer County. And the day before, I had been in Philadelphia still with my colleague, Commissioner Stevens, as we were at the National Association of Counties. And I had been on a national panel on wildfire and working on natural disasters and building resilient communities. And I was representing the wildfire piece of that. There was also commissioners or county supervisors related to Winter Storm Uri and North Carolina, Hurricane Helene. So there's a wide group, but how we work together with municipalities and utilities to get the power back on, but do it in a safe way. And it was really cool to be able to present and share. They wanted to hear more about some of the work we did at Alexander Mountain, but I brought in a lot about some of the things we learned from Cameron Peak and just how we all worked together. It went into a tabletop exercise after that, but it was interesting to know. You think North Carolina, you don't think wildfires. Well, now that they have had this massive hurricane, which they're still tremendously trying to recover from, they have so many downed trees. Now they have a wildfire risk. And so they're like, well, we don't know how we're going to deal with that. And I was like, hello, I'll be happy to talk to you and share what we've learned. And so and then be wildfire the next day. I just wanted to share that. It was an important chance to kind of show the work and also learn from others, and to be in our Philadelphia and walk and be where the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. I took one morning walk to half mile down to the National Park at Independence Hall and seeing where that was signed and being at the American Revolution museum the night before and learning something about George Washington I didn't know. It was really kind of uplifting and really deepened my resolve and determination to work as hard as I can as a commissioner to represent our wonderful county and state and to serve the public and public good, because I think about all the work in that simple little room, and it just kind of inspired me to even work harder than I have. So I'd never been there before, so it was really kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiring. So I just wanted to share that with you. I may not have been here, but I was still working. And then I was very pleased to be able to give the welcome at the 2025 Region 8 Community Action Conference opening. I want to thank Sarah R. and Thomas from our Human Services committee that were there, and Sarah did a lot of work to help organize that, to bring that to Colorado. There were several people in the room. It was also online for folks that maybe didn't have the budget or couldn't get there in person. But it was a chance for folks to get together and talk about homelessness and poverty and help raising folks out of poverty and the work that they all do together. And it was not only government, but also nonprofits and organizations. We had Eric Bergman from the Department of Local Affairs came and speak, and we used to be, we're still good friends, but he was a colleague as he worked for Colorado, CCI, Colorado Counties Incorporated, and we had a good chance to connect. He had also given some welcoming remarks, and I just wanted to say, again to Sarah and Tomas for being there, but Sarah worked really hard to help organize that. I want to give her a public shout out, because that's again wonderful employees that go above and beyond their duties that are assigned to bring people into partnership and collaboration to do good work for our communities, and I just wanted to make note of that. The other things, there was lots of things happening last week. I still kind of giggle, like, I guess no good deed goes unpunished. So it was a busy week, come back and not really even barely 4 hours of sleep and off and running. But that's what I love about my job. It's never boring. We had lots of meetings, but one thing we had was a gathering of NOCO Mixer, which was a lot of folks are from different groups and cultures and identities throughout our county coming together to intermingle and mix, make connections, and talk about what it means to feel like a community of belonging. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? And a chance for folks to share those ideas. And it was well received. It was a large group, And I just want to thank all the organizers and our Equity, Diversity, Inclusionary Advisory Board who participated and helped organize. And they did a good job representing the values of that board and our county. And I wanted to thank Lori Cadridge also. She was helping facilitate a table for her leadership in that area. It was nice to be there and to be in person, connect with community. We had our let's see. I met with the deputy state forester as we're working on an educational opportunity to meet with the state legislators at the beginning of next year. Because of the budget costs and work, we want to make sure that and it was great to talk to her to learn about some of the things that are happening at the state forester level. I want to report that they did get work that federal funding is going to come through for them. 30% of their budget comes through the federal government, and some states that's more than half their budget. This is 30% of their budget, so we know that they won't be whole, and they're really important partners for the work that they do. And so that was one bright note with the federal budget, so I wanted to share that with you all. But we're going to try to help educate the state legislators who may not be forestry experts or stewardship experts and wildfire experts on the importance of supporting wildfire, because there is a cost to do nothing. And there is a cost avoidance that I work very hard to try to make sure everyone understands how important that is. We had our Essex Valley Planning Advisory Committee. We're back down to meeting quarterly. They're, again, dedicated, hardworking group of folks. They're chomping at the bit to do more and work on the comprehensive plan, and appreciate staff that does all that work to bring all those folks together. On the 18th, we had our NOCO Partners meeting, which is the group that we are a partnership. Dalen Figgs from DNR is on the executive committee. It is a group of federal, state, and counties who work together on how we manage our open spaces together and common strategies. And we have outgoing executive director who helped kind of found this, and moving on to this new executive director. I won't go into it too much, but if you'd like to talk more about that, I'd be more than happy to share this with you. And then I also had the opportunity to go down to Denver with the law firm Brownstein, where I was asked to be a mock trial judge, and we had 15 what they call summers or interns to evaluate, and some of them I actually knew. So I really appreciate that honor. Great to hear that some other counties are looking at some of our land use regulations and things that we have done recently and looking to build off of what we have done. So it's really proud, again, moment of work that our staff do that is considered to be exemplar. And then I'll just lastly share about going to the pancake breakfast in Glen Haven. I've been going almost a decade, and that fire department is amazing. They have almost their entire neighborhood trained to be a volunteer firefighter. One of the women who is now a deputy chief, I remember when she first joined, and it was right after the Cameron Peak fire, and I had met her, and she was a resident, and I guess she's a marathon runner or something, and they were all amazed that she could carry all that gear and pretty much run and beat everyone up the hill with their training that they do. And I just want to thank the fire chiefs in Loveland and Estes Park fire departments that came to support them, and all the volunteers that organize all the amazing activities. It's really quite the community event, and it is really a lot of fun to go. And they're really running a lot of donations. We got to see the new truck, over $450,000 fire truck, bought with mostly through donations. So that's pretty impressive. County Rockies gave about $25,000. So it's great to see our state and local partners recognizing the need. But again, kudos to all the volunteers and folks that gathered that. And also, I was at a memorial service over the weekend for several first responders. My family's been involved with emergency medicine and emergency services for over 43 years. And we gathered to mourn about 4 former paramedics and EMTs that have recently passed. And it was great to connect with some of those folks. There is some deep Larimer County connections with that group. And I just wanted to say to everyone, please thank a first responder. They've gone through a lot the last few years, and please always thank a first responder. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kafalis, anything for you?
Yes.
Please go ahead then.
Thank you. So I mentioned this last time, but I'll mention it again briefly. Last Monday, I had the privilege of going with our Department of Natural Resources director and the open space director. We did a site visit and we hiked the Beta Bay Trail, which is the one that goes from the Inlet Bay to the South Bay. And if you haven't done that hike, it's really quite lovely. It's pretty, it follows the contour. It's 1.8 miles one way, and it's just a really lovely hike, one of our newest trails. Also, we visited the north end of Horsetooth Reservoir, the Satanka Bay area. A lot of activity going on up there with the various concessionaires and the paddle boarders. We've made some changes there over the last couple of years, and it was nice to receive some recreationalists came up to us and thanked us for some changes that have made things better there. So we do work on trying to improve things as best as we can. Let's see. On Tuesday, I participated in the Community Corrections Advisory Board meeting. Of note is that one of our responsibilities as commissioners is we serve as liaisons to a variety of boards and commissions. There are perhaps 30 or more boards and commissions. Some of them are statutory, most of them are advisory. On Wednesday, as our wonderful county manager stated, we participated in every other month, I think it is typically, Poudre School District, the Larimer County, and the City of Fort Collins. We have a liaison committee meeting, and this one involved UC Health, some of the major public sector employers in the county. It's interesting that of the top 10 employers in the county, I think 7 of them are public sector, including federal employees. And again, discussion of navigating these uncertain times in terms of funding and whether it's from the federal government or the state government. That was an interesting meeting, and hopefully that presentation that was provided will figure out how to best use that in the community. Moving right along, so both Commissioner Shattuck McNally and I can't recall if you mentioned this, we attended on Wednesday afternoon the City of Fort Collins Human Relations Commission had their NOCO connection and belonging mixer at the Fort Collins Senior Center. And I think there were 178 folks who responded from all walks of life. And it was just an opportunity to network and connect. And that's a good thing. Thursday, I attended the Housing Catalyst Board meeting. That's an example of another, that's an outside board, but I serve as the county commissioner liaison to that. Of note, there was a discussion of updating their administrative policy in the event that they may have to put a freeze on housing vouchers or perhaps based on funding from the federal budget to the Housing and Urban Development, which provides the funding for the housing vouchers, whether or not they'll have to eliminate some of those vouchers. The good news is that the budget that was approved for next fiscal year, starting October 1, at least the draft, has the funding for HUD is flat. And so they're cautiously optimistic that it'll at least remain flat, and all of the various housing vouchers, which many folks in the community have to help with affordable housing, that they will remain intact, but we're certainly not able to add to that. I think there are something like 750 people on the waiting list through Housing Catalyst, our local housing authority, regarding housing vouchers. On Friday, I'll skip something. On Friday, I participated in local elected officials panel, part of the Colorado Community Action Association conference that was at the Embassy Suites. I participated with Mayor Will Karspeck of Berthoud, Andrea Sampson of Loveland City Council, Senator Kathy Kipp, State Senator, the four of us, and basically talking about poverty through the various perspectives that we have on that, and also what are some of the best practices, approaches that we are implementing. I highlighted a tool that our human services folks use called My Friend Ben, which is an interesting application. It's free, and rather than spending 45 minutes to go through the peak process, which is determining whether you're eligible for this support or that support, that takes 45 minutes plus. This takes 6 minutes. It's anonymous, it's free, and it's really a very user-friendly tool. And it will put out a report that says, based on your family composition, based on your income and a variety of other factors, zip codes and all the rest, what kinds of tax credit programs you might be eligible, like the earned income tax credit, etc. So I highlighted the My Friend Ben, and it is customizable so that, for example, in Larimer County, when people are putting in inputs for child care assistance, it will say that our Colorado Child Care Assistance Program, CCAP, has currently as a freeze for the last year and a half, and so people cannot benefit from that. So that was pretty cool. Also on Friday, I'm almost there. Thank you. Thought I'd give it a go here. We had our Board of County, our Commissioner's Office picnic at Martinez Park. I don't know if that was mentioned. It was in the afternoon. It was a lot of fun. It's great to get together with folks and play games and hang out at the playground with grandkids and things like that. Left a little bit early, and I don't know how many people know of Dr. Tony Koski. He was a CSU professor for 37 years in the horticulture department. He was a lawn specialist, a constant volunteer at the farmers market, the county farmers market, and also very involved in the Master Gardener program. He died on July 12th from pancreatic cancer. He fought the good fight for as long as he could. And they had a really nice memorial mass at St. Joe's Catholic Church. Rick Miranda was the cantor. And then they had this really special reception at the Trial Gardens, where all the lovely flowers are. If you haven't been there lately, I encourage you to go. It's just really magnificent. So I'm really glad and blessed that we could participate in that. The Glen Haven Volunteer Fire Department pancake breakfast was mentioned. A lot of fun, a lot of good work, a lot of good people up there. It's a big annual fundraiser for their volunteer fire protection district. And finally, last but not least, the most important thing I did all week, besides the usual stuff we do around here, is I did story time at the farmers market on Saturday. We didn't have a sellout crowd, but where one or two are gathered, it matters. And so we had lots of fun reading stories. Thanks for listening. I'm sorry I went on.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thanks for your work. For the sake of time and because we have 3 legal matters, I will not be giving a report this morning. So I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to make a motion to move us into executive session. And I believe we have 2 items where a decision is expected, so we will be coming back online for those. And then we'll go for the one item where no decision is expected. So looking to the legal team to say we'll make those 2 motions to go into executive session, and then we'll make the other motion when we're back on air. We'll make the motions, and then we'll make the motion to go in the 3rd executive session. Does that seem fine? Maybe Bill.
To clarify, will we be making the motions consecutively or?
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Rasu, Larimer County Attorney. The 3rd item that does not have a decision, we actually have our outside counsel, our water attorney is present. We were planning to call that one first, if that's an option, so that he can move on.
Sure.
You can make all 3 motions together, and then after we do all 3 sessions, you can come back out one time.
Perfect.
And make a decision on the other 2 items. You can make a serial motion. I would read all 3 of the motions, and then you can vote one time on all 3 motions if you'd like.
That sounds great. Let's do that.
Okay, we'll give it a go. I move the Board of County Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402 4B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice about water rights related to the new Larimer County landfill site. Furthermore, we move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402-4B, excuse me, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding Margaret M. Fitzgerald, LCSW versus Michael Allen Knob et al., Supreme Court of the United States, number 25-11. And finally, the commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402-4B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice regarding Astrid versus Larimer County Federal District Court case number 23-CV-02-02051, and pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6402-4E, determine positions, develop strategy, and instruct negotiators relative to said federal district court case and to discuss potential settlement.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes 3-0. We'll now move into executive session. Thanks for being here.
Think about it. Think about it. Think about it.
Kick.
Think about it. 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 Think about it.
Hello, everyone. We are back from our executive sessions, and I'm going to turn things over to David Arud, one of our county attorneys, to talk a little bit about one of the items we'll be voting on.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Arud, Deputy County Attorney. This is in regard to the Margaret M. Fitzgerald v. Michael Knabb case, the United States Supreme Court 25-11. Very short version of this is it's a case that originates out of Pennsylvania. Miss Fitzgerald brought some claims involving 49 defendants across a number of states, mostly judges, doctors, other professionals. Included in there was Justin Smith, former Larimer County Sheriff, in his official capacity as Larimer County Sheriff. The claim has something to do with, as best as we can ferret out from here, a concealed handgun permit that was denied. Most of the rest of the issues arise under divorce and child custody issues that she's bringing from Pennsylvania to the U.S. Supreme Court. Because it has now gone to Supreme Court, they've asked for a response regarding her petition for cert, and so we're asking the board to approve us to enter and represent the office of the sheriff for that matter.
Thank you, David, for explaining that. So I will ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make a motion on that item.
Certainly, Madam Chair. I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve Larimer County to defend and identify Justin Smith in his former capacity as Larimer County Sheriff in United States Supreme Court Case 25-11.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
And now County Attorney Bill Rousseau has another item that we'll be voting on.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. Bill Rousseau, Larimer County Attorney. The item I'm here with today is to present the board with a proposed settlement agreement in a lawsuit that's related to the county's removal of the Profile Rock Bridge, which was damaged following the Black Hollow flooding back in 2021. There were two lawsuits related to that, the removal of that bridge, and this proposed settlement that I'm presenting to you today is in one of those cases, and it would resolve the first filing, the first lawsuit. That first lawsuit was filed by a property owner that goes by one name, and her name is Astrid. The agreement, if approved by the board, would make a payment, a one-time payment of $310,000 to Astrid, and that would fully resolve the lawsuit and all of her claims. The agreement states that the settlement is not an admission of responsibility or wrongdoing, and that the parties each respectively believe that the terms of the agreement are in their best interests. The other terms of the agreement are very standard settlement provisions. It talks about how payment would be tendered and how we'll get the court case dismissed and things of that nature. So my office has provided you with a copy of the proposed settlement agreement. It's already been signed by the plaintiff, Astrid. So today, if you take action and approve that settlement agreement, I would also ask that you authorize the chair to sign the settlement agreement, and then from there, we will take care of making the payment and getting the lawsuit dismissed. So the decision for you all today is to consider approving that settlement agreement and authorizing the chair to execute it.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions? All right. Commissioner Cavalis, then I'll ask you to make that motion, please.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for the informed discussions we've had on this matter. I move that the Larimer County Board of Commissioners approve and authorize the chair to sign the proposed settlement agreement in United States District Court Case 123-CV-02051 PAB TPO Astrid versus Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County, Colorado.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. That is the last of the business we have for this meeting. And so with that at, 11:19, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.